preparing, and then there you go. It says we're live, but
yeah,
there's always a delay. So just bear with me. I'm just going to check
yeah.
when we are live in the group. Where are we? Are we there yet? Yay! There we go. Okay, let me put on gallery view. Okay, so I'll obviously introduce you first, Vickie. So just give a little bit of an intro, and then we'll get stuck straight in.
Okay.
So hi, ladies. If you're watching at home, I'm really excited this evening. So Vickie is actually very local to me, like really close. We've never met, so it's kind of strange. I actually, where are you in at the moment?
I'm at home at the moment.
Okay, so is that, what area is that?
That's Dunstable. That's
about
yeah,
15 minutes away, so not far at all.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited. Not just because Vickie's from near me. In fact, Dunstable is where I grew up, so she's from the town I grew up in. My wife teaches in Dunstable. I went to school there, everything. So I'm not just excited for that reason. I'm excited because Vickie has, I think, had an incredible journey, and I'm really excited for her to share her story, because I think there's so many women that are going to be watching this either tonight or on replay in the future. I think about anywhere between 500 and a couple of thousand will watch her videos. So I am positive that there's going to be a large percentage that will really like resonate with what you're going to tell us tonight, and how, you know, your past experiences and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be amazing to share that. So ladies, if you're watching tonight, I can see that it says that Carol Can's live. I know Carol's just joined to work for us. Carol Bridgman, she's working with us as well. Sarah Brown, she's working with us. There's a woman called Catherine Shields. If you are watching, ladies, say hello in the comments. It's always nice to have interaction throughout. If there's anything I say, if there's anything that Vickie says, and you want to ask questions or you want to comment, please do so. It's so much better when we have engagement and we've got questions flowing. So please don't be shy. There you go. Sarah said hello already. So just say hello. If you're watching on replay, same thing, engage. Like I will get back to your comments. So throw me a hashtag replay. There we go. Carol Della's comment as well. Hi, Carol. Okay, so best place to start, Vickie. If you can tell all the ladies watching, before you started working with us, how were you feeling and what was going on?
So I was actually feeling very low. I'm going to say my confidence was on the floor. I was literally floored by everything. I had spent, at the time I spoke to you, I was using what they call exogenous ketones. I'd spent thousands on them, thousands and thousands, believe it, yep. Believing that they were the magic potion that was going to help me lose weight. And they didn't, but I was still stuck in that mind frame of these are going to work, they're going to work, they're going to work. And I was on them for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can imagine how much I spent. And I just felt like I was completely useless. I couldn't lose weight. My mindset was, you know, why can't I? Because I'd lost weight in the past, extreme diets in the past. I'd tried hypnosis and that hadn't worked. I did the Dukan diet and had amazing success with it. Then my gallbladder kicked off and I lost my gallbladder. And I still say it's down to the Dukan diet.
It is extreme and can cause, like, I don't think people understand like how dangerous it can actually be.
It's very extreme. In my first week on the Dukan diet, I lost almost a stone in a week. So you can imagine, I was like, this is my, I've always had a weight problem.
Yeah.
No, that's a lie. I haven't always had a weight problem. But at a certain age, I believed I had a weight problem. So, yeah, I was, I know that, you know, my phone call with you was sobbing on the phone because I just felt so worthless, you know, unable to, I can't stick to it. I can't lose weight. I'm at the end of my tether. I was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and nothing I did was working.
So with the ketones that you did for 2 years, there was nothing happened. all over that time?
Over 2 years, I lost 10 pounds.
And then obviously in the past, when you had lost weight, it'd only been when you'd done some extreme stuff.
I'd done extreme stuff. I had done diet clubs, but obviously there's a lot of counting in diet clubs. I didn't want something where I had to weigh everything, count everything, or, cut everything out. I'd cut with the Dukan, it was like no carbs. So I was, trying to find things that would substitute with the carbs. The only thing that kept me going on the Dukan was the fact that I was losing so fast and so quickly. Yeah. But then my health suffered as a result.
And I'm pretty positive that I can see there's quite a few women watching. I'm pretty positive that you wouldn't be the only one to experience that. So if ladies, you are watching at home, and you've tried any of these things, or you felt the way that Vickie has, like, please comment and let us know in the comments below. Share your stories. Like, what have you tried? What has and hasn't worked, and what have been your experiences? And also, probably, I hope you don't mind, Vickie. I want to help people. So ketones have been massive over probably the last couple of years, right? I've seen so many people selling them. So I hope you don't mind. I just want to educate people just so they avoid that same mistake. So essentially, ketones are what your body will naturally produce when you do not have sufficient carbohydrates. So your brain runs on glucose. So any type of carbohydrate, whether it's sugar, whether it's like pasta, rice, bread, or whether it's fruit, they're eventually broken down into glucose. Doesn't matter where the carbohydrate comes from, broke down in glucose, and your brain runs on glucose. However, if you say went on a keto diet, or you cut carbohydrates out of your diet, your body would use up all that carbohydrate, and then it would start to use ketones when it doesn't have enough carbohydrates. So essentially, your body is using fat as a fuel source, but that doesn't mean you're burning fat. And there's a really, really big difference. However, clever marketing makes you believe that, oh, okay, so if I'm burning fat, then that means I'm going to lose body fat. But they're very, very different things. It's like if your car runs on like diesel, and you only give it diesel, it's only going to burn diesel. That doesn't mean you're going to run out of fuel and you're going to then start burning off parts of the car. I know that's not a real example because the car wouldn't just start falling apart, but hopefully you get what I'm saying. So if you're only eating fat, of course, your body will only burn fat because it's the only fuel it has got to burn. But it doesn't mean you're going to use body fat. You're going to use the dietary fat that you're eating. So what clever marketing companies will do is they'll say, use these ketones. That's going to put you into ketosis, which means your body's going to burn fat. Well, first of all, if you're eating carbs, you won't get into ketosis, even if you take ketones. And even if you do, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to lose body fat. And plus, you don't need a supplement to do it. As I've just highlighted, if you just cut carbs out your diet, you'll go into ketosis anyway without taking ketones. And there won't be a quicker way of doing that. So for anyone that's contemplating taking ketones, they're a waste of money. You don't need them. But marketing is so clever. And, Vickie's, as she said, she tried everything. And she's got to this point where she's like, nothing's working. And obviously the clever marketing tells her, this must be it. And, you're not alone with that, Vickie. So there's no judgment from me.
No, and I fully believed it. I had a friend who said, these are amazing. You eat after a certain time in the morning and you stop eating before a certain time at night. You don't have to cut carbs out. Although I did cut carbs out, because I remember saying to Jenny's like, how do you feel about eating carbs? And I'm like, I don't think so. But I did. I thought, okay, if I'm going to do this, let's put some carbs back in, and I did. So I was doing ketones as well as no carbs, as well as fat burners, and was getting nowhere fast.
Yeah, and from all of those kind of experiences, why did now, knowing what you know now, why do you think that the weight never stayed off? Or why do you think, like, what do you think the big problem with all of those approaches was?
So for me, those approaches were, you know, whether it was a diet club or an extreme diet, it was restrictive to some kind of measure. And so what happened with me was losing weight, as long as I was focused, didn't have a problem with that. I could lose it. I'd proved that I could do it on, you know, the Dukan diet. I'd proved it. I'd proved it at a weight club, you know, a diet club. I'd proved that I could do it then. So it's not that, it's the fact that things are restricted. And when I reached my goal weight, it was like, oh, I can have a field day now, boom, shakalaka, and I'm on it. You know, I'm having the chocolates, I'm making up for lost time. And the minute I start reintroducing those foods, my body's going, oh, great, you know. And the weight went back on, but not only did the weight go on, it went on and more.
Yeah. So
the more diets I did, effectively, the bigger I got. And that, I didn't see that before working with ARC. I just thought it was down to me.
I think that's so common. A lot of women think, I've done this and I've done this and I've done this, nothing's worked. So this is just going to fail. This is going to be another thing that fails, because it's so ingrained. Like, and essentially they're trying to protect themselves from yet another kind of failure. So what do you think has been the biggest difference in what Jenny and what we've done with you compared to those other approaches?
There's no failure, there's no judgment, and nothing's off limits. So even though I'm in a diet mentality, it's like, this isn't a diet, this is a way of life. This is looking at my relationship with food. And I have had a very unhealthy relationship with food, you know. So it's been looking at that, but it is the fact that I can have the things I want and still lose weight. And I remember I messaged Jenny. I went away for a weekend to see some friends who were over from Ireland, and I'd gone to a seaside resort. Okay, so it was candy floss and ice cream and all sorts of stuff around. Now, I remember saying, I just thought, oh, what am I going to do? And Jenny said, just think of it as if you're maintaining. So I'm like, okay, I'll do that. I went away and I enjoyed myself. I didn't think about, I'm having an ice cream. Uh-oh. I didn't think about, I'm having fish and chips. Uh-oh. Or I'm having a latte. I didn't. I just let that go. And I didn't feel like I wanted to have it all. I wasn't like a kid in a sweet shop. It was, I can have it if I want it. Okay, that's great. So, and I lost weight. Still, you know, and when I look at what I ate, I'm like, and I lost weight. And I had a cheeky little vodka and tonic too. So that's the difference. The difference is, but also there's no failure. If I have a day where, and I've had one recently where I'm having a hungry day, and I've eaten more than maybe I intend to, it's a case of, well, okay, I've done that, I now need to move on. And what I would do in the past is I would do that, I'd do the binge restrict. So I would have my field day, and then the following week I would restrict my intake massively. I haven't done that, so it'll be interesting to see what happens when I get on the scales this week to see what's happened. But I don't, you know, the work that I've done with ARC, I don't have that guilt feeling or that self-deprecation or that punishment of myself or those fuck it moments where it's I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. I've done it now. I might as well go the whole hog. And that's what's changed. I don't have those moments. That's not to say that I won't have those moments, because I know I will now. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
and you understand how to manage that better, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a really, really good point. So for any of the ladies watching at home, like a lot of people think, oh, I can't have that approach because that actually opens up the floodgates. But it's actually the opposite. Like, and we find this so often that once you start taking the restrictions away and you have what we term like unconditional positive regard. So you can have whatever you want. Like literally there's nothing off limits. Once that food is disempowered and you're actually allowed it, you don't want it as much. Would you say that's true for you?
Yeah, I would. And this is the thing, as soon as I mean, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that I was going to be allowed to eat carbs, eat chocolate, eat crisps, eat cake, eat biscuit, all of that. I could not believe that I was going to be allowed to eat that and still lose weight. But also I was afraid of it because I didn't want to go to the other extreme, because pre-arc I would not have anything like that for a long time, and it could go months and months and months and months, 6 months and more, and then I would have a couple of days where I would buy up the bloody supermarkets of all that, and I'd be standing at the checkout and I'd be going to myself, oh, shit, what are people going to think of me? Because I'm not small, and they're going to look at me and they're going to go, oh, right, that's why she's fat. Do you know what I mean? But now I don't have to do that. Now I can have, little and often. And if I want to have a bar of chocolate every night, I can have a bar of chocolate every night. But actually, I don't need a bar of chocolate every night.
Yeah, I think that's a really important part, because a lot of women will kind of say, well, how can you eat everything you want and lose weight? Like, I think it's really clear to establish here, there is no such thing as free foods. Like, you can't eat as much as you want, but like the fact that you have free ability to eat whatever you want, when you want, like that, and obviously working with a coach to kind of help you to show you how much you can have, that allows you to then not have those binge moments, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that's the case for you?
Yeah, it is. And there are tools that Jenny's given me, that there's the tapping, there's the 5 hungers, all of that sort of stuff that Jenny's given me to help me work through those moments and identify, am I hungry, or is there something else going on? And if there's something else going on, how am I going to deal with that? And then going, okay, what do I now want to do about this? Do I want to make a conscious decision and go, I'm having it anyway? Or do I want to make a conscious decision and go, I need to go away and deal with it, walk away from, don't stalk the fridge, don't stalk the cupboards, but walk away from it and go, all right, let's deal with this. I don't always manage it.
And that's okay, right?
Yeah. It's fine. I'm just beginning to learn that. It's just beginning to click that actually that's okay.
And it is definitely. Ladies, if you're watching at home and any of these stories resonate, like sound familiar, let us know in the comments. And obviously, as I said, if you've got any questions for Vickie, like we'll answer all your questions, and it can be around anything she's just said, around the 5 hungers, around anything we've been talking about. Please drop questions below, and we're more than happily answer those. Okay, so let's get into the good stuff. So obviously you've tried stuff before, always regain the weight. You've tried restrictive approaches, you felt that this isn't, you're now eating carbs, you're eating chocolate, you went away, you had like all sorts and still lost weight. So tell us what have been the results that you've seen? Like, obviously, if you want to mention weight, that's great. But like in terms of everything, what's the differences that have happened?
So obviously I've lost 30 odd pounds, which is just awesome. In, the short time I've been with ARC, I've lost more weight than the flipping 2 years that I was on the ketones. So that's pretty cool. But also, the dress size has gone down quite significantly, more than I expected it to go down.
How many dress sizes?
Huh?
How many dress sizes?
I'm almost 3 dress sizes down.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. That's amazing.
Yeah. And it's I know they say every 10 pounds is a dress size, but I never believed that. I never believed it, because I would lose 10 pounds, but I would still be in the same size clothes. So I kind of I don't believe it. But it's nearly 3 dress sizes, and I'm like, what is going on here?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so pleased for you.
Thank you. I am too.
That is true, but the reason why it's not true on most diets is because of the way that the weight's been lost. So typically on most diets, there's no kind of focus at all on protein, and they are very drastic and severe, which means you're very likely to lose muscle and you're very likely to lose water, which means your body shape is less likely to change. Like we had a woman who said her body changed more when she lost 10 pounds with us than when she had lost like multiple stone on other diets, because of the way it was done. So that's really normal, but I'm so pleased for you. That's amazing. Like, that's brilliant.
It's expensive though.
Okay, so how's that impacted you? How's that like changed?
My confidence is a lot. I have a much more confidence in me as a person. I actually am starting to like who I am as a person, right? I hated myself. I thought I was useless. I was worthless. I didn't value myself, and I'm learning to value myself. I'm learning to put those boundaries in place, keep those boundaries in place, because, relationship is not just about, my relationship with food and my eating behaviors are impacted by my relationships with other people and the way I respond to them. So I'm learning a different way of being with other people as well. And it's paying dividends, because I'm setting those boundaries, I'm holding those boundaries, and almost to the point where I'm not being compliant anymore. That's something that I've always had a thing about, is I need to be compliant. If I'm not compliant, people won't like me. If people won't like me, I'm not a nice person. And so the self-perpetuating circle goes on. And now I'm beginning to realize that actually I need to be true to myself. And so I'm starting to do that, and and the world hasn't fallen apart, and people do still like me, and I'm starting to like myself. I think I said on one of my forms, I want to be my own best friend. I don't want to be the school mom to myself. I want to be, and that's what's happening. That's what's starting to take place. And I'm starting to care for me and not put everyone else first and me last. I'm coming first now. And it doesn't mean that's to the detriment of other people. It just means I am important to me.
I'm so glad you added that last bit, because so many women that I've spoken to in the past couple of years have always felt that putting themselves higher in up their priority list, or looking after themselves better, means that everyone else it's to the detriment of everyone else. But you added that bit, and I think that's really, really important. So it doesn't mean that everyone else doesn't matter anymore, right?
No, it doesn't mean that. Everyone else does matter, but actually I need to matter first, because if I'm, they say you can't pour from an empty coffee pot. And it is true. If I'm not looking after me, how can I be effective at caring for other people? I need to care for me first. How can I care for other people if I'm not doing that? It's important.
I'm smiling so much, Vickie, because I remember our first call, as you said, like you were very low.
Yeah.
And it is amazing to sit here and listen to you talk like this about how much more confident you are, how you're like prioritizing yourself. Like it's brilliant. I love it. It makes me genuinely really, really happy. And Jenny's just commented, she said, great to hear from you, lovely. You've come such a long way on your journey.
Thanks,
I know
Jenny.
she loves working with you. Okay, I can see there's one question from Julie. She said, what is the 5 hungers?
Okay. Sorry, Jenny, I can remember 4. So there are different types of hunger. You've got emotional hunger, intellectual hunger, physical hunger, spiritual hunger, and a 5th hunger. And they are all different. The intellectual hunger is about, you need something that stimulates. Go and read a book. Go and do something that stimulates the mind. The spiritual hunger, or I think it might be also called soul hunger, but that's that's much more about, if you want something to eat but you don't know what you want, then it's likely to be that kind of a hunger. So go away and reconnect. Right. Emotional hunger is about, are you eating on your emotions?
Jenny's put physical, emotional, mental, social, spiritual, soulful.
Okay.
In fact, right. So rather than Vickie trying to go through it all, if you would like Jenny to come and do another live, sorry, Jenny, I'm throwing you under the bus here. If you want Jenny to come and do another Monday live and go through the 5 hungers, explain them, but give you strategies and ideas of how to challenge those, just comment Jenny. Okay, so comment Jenny below. You'll see she's been commenting, and I'll make sure that I somehow convince her to come back on and do a live about that to help you with it. Okay, so I'm gonna open up floor. So for anyone who has any questions for Vickie about her journey, her results, what she's done with us, anything at all, this is your chance to drop comments below or questions below. And Vickie, if you can think up, I'm going to give you a minute, think up one top tip that you would give to someone who isn't working with ARC, like one thing that might help them, or that's really helped you that you think might help someone else. Okay, so there's loads of Jenny comments coming in. So Julie, Sarah, Julie Asprey, Carol. So Jenny, sorry, you might have to do this, because when this goes on replay and more people see it, I think there might be more comments. Sorry, Jenny. If, by the way, if any of you ladies like have really enjoyed this evening, before Vickie gives her top tip, just press the like button, press the love heart button. Let us know in the comments below. As I said, this is your last chance to kind of ask any questions. Okay, have you got something, Vickie? Okay, brilliant. So what would be your top tip?
Remember, there's no such thing as being perfect. So stop beating yourself up when you think you've failed.
Love it. I love that. And I'm going to add to that. The only time you fail is when you give up.
Yeah.
So as long as you don't give up, you'll never fail. All right. There's a love heart from Carol. I think the ladies that have watched it this evening have really enjoyed it, Vickie.
Good.
Yeah, Julie said she's, as in you, she's inspiring, or she might be talking about Jenny, but I'm pretty sure she's talking about you.
Jenny's pretty inspiring too, though.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what's great about this. You've got, unfettered access to awesome coaches. I have my one-to-one coach in Jenny, but I've got access to a whole host of other people.
And they are awesome.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm quite biased, but they are brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, before we go, oh yes, Julie said both you and Jenny are inspiring. So thank you ever so much, ladies, for tuning in this evening. So if you're watching this live, I really appreciate it. It's always good to have people on and commenting rather than, just us talking into a screen and actually having some people like feedback and stuff. So thank you so much for giving us your time. I really do appreciate it. But more importantly, Vickie, thank you so much for sharing your story.
It's a pleasure.
Really, really appreciate it. And I know that someone's going to watch this. It's going to really hit home. And hopefully they'll be able to take some stuff away from everything that you've learned and you've done as well, and it will help them. So thank you. I hope
so. I do hope so.
All right. Thank you ever so much, Vickie. And thank you again, everyone at home. And see you all soon. See you next Monday.
Bye.